So I'm sure a lot of you know who Santa Claus is. But have you ever wondered where he really comes from? Naturally, you would think it's the Bible due to Christmas being a Christian holiday. Thing is though, if you actually look in the Bible, you will find no reference to anything or anyone related to Santa Claus. So let's find out exactly where he comes from. So first off, we need to establish the fact that a lot of Christmas traditions are not entirely Christian, and there is a good chance of pagan influence. If you don't know, paganism is any religion other than one of the main world religions, which usually involves religions that had multiple gods. Take example, the Norse gods, Thor, Loki, Odin, those guys. As Christianity first spread throughout Europe, it began to overcome pagan beliefs. One of the methods that was used to convert pagan people to Christianity was to allow them to practice some of their initial traditions, as long as it did not violate Christian beliefs. However, that doesn't justify direct influence, especially since Christmas developed long before many of these other cultures became assimilated in the first place. But anyhow, let's look into Father Christmas himself. So what we can say accurately is that Santa Claus is based on Greek Anatolian Saint Nicholas of Myra, born to a Greek Christian family 270 AD within modern Turkey. Most of what we know about him is based on stories after his death. He eventually became Bishop of Myra and had a special connection to God. His most famous story surrounds his efforts of helping a father save his 3 daughters. The father was worried about the future of his daughters as he was unable to pay for their wedding dowries. To assist them, Nick snuck over to the house and tossed 3 bags of coins into the daughter's window. He was caught in the 3rd night but swore to keep it secret. Do you see the connection to Santa? Leaving gifts for others in secrecy? It's even said some of the coins landed in the stockings that were hung up by the fireplace, which is one of the inspirations for the Christmas stockings we see today. As the stories became famous in Christian Europe and spread up north, it's said by some that St. Nicholas's character became intertwined with that of the Norse god Odin, as both had a special feast day that took place during the winter. This is where things get kind of vague, as it's unclear how much of Santa was inspired by Odin, if there was any inspiration at all. I personally would not compare the king of the Viking gods to Santa, but the argument can still be made regardless. St. Nicholas's name continued to be spread throughout the ages, and in the Netherlands he was referred to as Sinterklaas, dressed in red and riding a white horse bringing gifts to children. Many more years later, when his name was brought to the Americas, it would be translated into Santa Claus. As more time passed, authors and poets added more to the image of Santa Claus that acts more resemblant of the way we see him today. In 1821, the poem Old Santa Claus gave him 1 reindeer and a sleigh, and in 1823, the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement Clark Moore gave him 8 flying reindeer, except Rudolph, who didn't exist until 1939. But it was also Clement's poem that gave Santa's iconic look that we now see him today. Believe it or not, Santa was often seen as a more smaller elf-like figure back before this poem was released. In this poem, he was described as an old round Dutchman with a pipe in his mouth, a snow-white beard, and a cheerful face. In 1863, Thomas Nast brought this description to life, and now we have the Santa Claus we know and love. Nast also established the fact that he lives in the North Pole. This image was then fully fleshed out by Coca-Cola in 1931, who wanted to use Santa to sell beverages. And so, to put simply, Santa Claus is the final product of a mix of religious cultures and traditions that blended together across human history. And now you know where Santa comes from. See ya.